Jack, welcome. Thanks a lot for kind of gracing us with your time today. Much appreciated, especially
Thank
on
you
a
for having
Sunday evening. We've started these sessions for our community. It's going to be every month. We're going to try and cover something different to give some variety and spread knowledge and things. So we're very happy to have you here. We kind of want to get an understanding of who Jack is and what got you into the whole Amazon FBA kind of business model. And then if you can give us like an overview, the basics of how it's kind of done.
me.
Don't expect it to be a full tutorial. But then we'll open the floor up to anyone who has any questions, like we did last week. If you've got any questions at the end, just unmute yourself and ask away. Cool. Over to you,
Awesome.
Jack.
Cool. Thanks very much for having me, guys. Hello, everybody. Can't see all of you, but it's good to see you. So yeah, I'm Jack Dodd. A lot of you know me as JackDamz. I should probably give you a little bit of an explanation about that one, actually. So there's meant to be actually Jack D, because Dodd is my last name, and then AMZ. But then I kind of just adopted the nickname JackDamz because it kind of went a bit too far. So yeah, JackDamz, 19-year-old entrepreneur. Started business back in April 2019. Now, the story behind that is, well, basically, I left college early, got my BTEC done very quickly because I'd had enough of the place. I wanted to get out into the wide world and start earning some money. It was always on the goals list, so I just had to get out quick and do it. Full-time work for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. It wasn't really the one for me, to be honest with you. Long days on the train at 5 in the morning, didn't get home till 6, 7 o'clock at night. Most of the time actually later. It was mad. It was mad, and I've been working at Tesco for 2 years at that point, or a year and a half at that point. I had a fair bit of savings done. Again, like I say, I've always been kind of financially motivated. So I'd saved a lot of money, or a fair bit of money. I'd say, for 3, 4, 5 grand, max at any point. So it wasn't much, but, for the time it felt like a lot. One night I came home to my dad and I said, look, Pops, this work stuff's mad. It is just too much. I don't think I could do that. Personally, I don't think I could do it. Looking for jobs in my local area, I didn't really have any that I wanted to do. Law was on the cards for what I wanted to do, but there was just obviously a commitment I wasn't sure I wanted to make because it's a lot of years at uni, a lot of years training up and stuff. And he said to me, well, if you want to start a business for yourself, what you need to do is you need to find a high ROI business, okay, because it's all based on ROI. So high ROI business, highly leveraged business model where you don't need staff, you don't need rent, you don't need a warehouse. And then I started doing research online, found Amazon FBA. I love the idea of it. Like, you send your products there, they do all the fulfillment for you, stuff like that. Kind of took a lot of the main potential issues of, starting a business out of the way. The traffic's on Amazon already. You don't need to worry about marketing, heavy expenditures, stuff like that. So it sounded great to me. So my first port of call was to find a course, mentor, something like that to help me on with it. And I got on a call with some American company. Can't remember what they're called. I probably shouldn't say what they're called, but yeah, got on a call with them, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, so what do you want?" And I said, "Well, I want to start Amazon." And they said, "Oh yeah, we can help you with that." They said, "What do you want to make a month?" And I said, "Oh, I want to make 10 grand a month." And they said, "Oh, okay, cool, that's great. Yeah, sure. So do you want us to help you?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And they said that they wanted 7 grand, $7,000. I was like, "Whoa, that's a lot of money, yeah." And I kept on looking around, saw these courses. I knew online courses weren't it for me because I was never, just reading and listening and writing, which wasn't quite it. Mentor wise, there wasn't really any around. I was looking at other options, basically trying to cut corners is what I was trying to do, trying to get in fast and easy. And unfortunately with this, there's just there's no possible way to do that. So what I did was I just started. I went on a website called wholesaleclearance.co.uk. Actually, if you're watching, great place to start. I lost my first few £1,000 on there, and also made my first few £1,000 on there, which was quite cool. So it's wholesaleclearance.co.uk, and they basically sell like liquidation pallets. So companies will go bust or something, and it'll be really cheap that they're selling it for, like 90% off. I spent about 2.5 grand to most of my money. I was still moved out at the point, still working long hours at Tesco. So I spent about 2.5, 3 grand on that website, bought loads of stuff. And I thought, what, I'm just going to give it a go. It's super cheap. What could go wrong? And everything did, to be fair. The whole the whole thing went wrong. It was pretty much a majority loss. Came out with a couple of £100, 200, £300, which was fine. I wouldn't go back and change it, you know, because obviously it's got me to where I am today for sure. So yeah, lost a bit of money. I was like, shit, you know, and now I was paying rent. I'd had savings before, but now I was paying rent. So there was not enough money for me to be saving at the end of every month. So approached my dad and said, look, I want to take a £1,500 loan. I know I can do this. I found some products that I know will work well because of what's just happened to me. You know, there were sales on the board. There were loads of sales on the board. I think I'd done like £3,000 in the first month or something like that in sales, which is, you know, spectacular for a first month of sales. So it was proof that the business model worked, but the margins weren't it. I didn't realize there was such thing as Amazon fees. I didn't realize you had to pay to send your products. I didn't realize that you needed listings for the product. I was just literally all over the shop. It was just, yeah, hilarious. Looking back on it, it was a big leap, to be fair. I can't believe I just jumped straight into it, but I guess I've always been fairly, you know, impulsive with these things. But did that, and I said, Pops, look, I want a £1,500 loan. And he said, you got two options here. You can either pay it back, okay, which I was worried about. You know, I'm like, I don't know, you know, then when he said pay it back, or I was like, is it going to work? Am I going to be able to get the money? Am I going to be in debt? It's just scaring me. Then he said, you can either pay it back or I'll take 50%. And I said instantly, obviously, without, you know, I'll just give you 50%. That's just it. So took it. I went and bought some USB fans. Okay, just from random, literally, they're awesome. You plug them into the side of your computer, turn it on, and it's like a fan, and it has a clock on it. Wicked little things. And some laptop bags, really cheap laptop bag from the same website, wholesale clearance. The laptop bags were £3.50 buy, selling them for like 30 quid, and the USB fans were like a 70p buy, and we're selling them for about £8.99, £9.99, and £11.99 at some point. So it was really good. It was the sales came in from them. I don't think I quite did it right, even then, but it worked. It worked.
So quick question. So when you first started, you were just looking at UK based, like kind of suppliers.
Yeah. Because again, the rest of it was a minefield to me. You know, that would have been a guaranteed loss if I went the other way. It was literally just UK based. There's so much money to be made in the UK. A lot of people think the second they hear sell on Amazon or sell online, they think China. You know, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. But I didn't touch China for a good 6 months. You know, I went UK based companies, wholesalers, stuff like that straight away. And it worked quite nicely. That website was just, you know, but what I always say there is it's like sifting through shit. There's so much crap on that website. It's unbelievable. Like they're like wholesaling secondhand like trousers and stuff. So a bit of a strange place to be. But I found those products and then it was like, whoa. Then it was like, wow, this is great. And then I really got into it. And then I started doing a lot of arbitrage. You've all seen my TikTok videos. I'm in Tesco, found this product. What do you think? And that was great. So I still was working at Tesco. I had my staff discount. And I was literally going around buying loads of, you know, reduced stuff. So I was working in Tesco near me in Caterham. I was working on the back to school stuff. So they got pens and stationery and stuff like that. So they got it all on sale on a big sale, like kind of wall kind of thing. When I was to reduce them, because they made me reduce them, and they made me reduce it all by 90%. Okay, so I reduced it all by 90%, spent like 300 quid on the stuff, and obviously you can do the maths, you know. Sold it on Amazon, and it just went. And then I started getting addicted, like heavily addicted. So I kept on going around to the shops, and I was like, wow, this is great. Black Friday, bought like 30 Xboxes at like 99 quid. Then Christmas came, and people start panicking and buying them, selling those for like 300 quid, you know. And it became like, wow. And Amazon could just facilitate these orders like that. You know, I'd send them in. Amazon would take their cut, 30%, whatever it may be. It's not always 30%. It's like, yeah, it's tough to work out. It's based on weight, cost, size, etc. And it was just like, wow, this is unreal. But what I found myself doing, exhausting my options, because I'm at Tesco and I can't go back to the same Tesco the next day because I've taken everything good. Then I'm at another Tesco and another Tesco and another Tesco. And it was like, after Black Friday, after Christmas, it got to a point where it's like, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't really like sustainable. It was more like a hobby, more like a full-time job, because I'm out and about and going. So I looked into more, you know, items that had started having a bit more longevity, where I didn't need to leave the house. So I started looking at sourcing from China, which is what I started doing, wholesale. I started sourcing from UK wholesalers online, which started great. I started then moving into Costco. where I find, decent ROI products that I could just grab off the shelf every week, and they could let me know when new orders came in. And that's that. And then it kind of just grew from there. It's been a non-stop journey, but it's been really good.
Cool. So quick question from Tony. Tony says, at what point when an item's not selling, will you decide to cut your losses and basically try and get your money back?
It's a funny one, because for me now, I've kind of got this bulletproof. It's kind of, so what I do. So more so, the risk isn't having something going in that doesn't sell with this. When you've got the right software and you've got the right techniques and know how to use that software in conjunction with the human mind and a bit of common sense, it's not so much that it will sell, it's more so at what margin and what profit it will sell. Because obviously you've got competition on Amazon, it can go down, the price can go down, you might need to lower it because it's not selling, something like that. Again, there's no particular point where it won't sell. It's more of a case of what is it selling for. But for that, it's a case of whenever I buy a product, it's a test order, and that test order for me is 100% risk. It's 100%. I'm going, right, if I'm spending £300 on this product as a test, I'm writing that off as a loss. Does that make sense? And then if it comes back and it's good and it tests as I expect it to, then I can go back in. But then obviously if it doesn't move, that's when I cut my losses and go, right, finished. I very rarely have to bring products back and dispose of them, or get Amazon to dispose of them. But again, a lot of people do it a very different way,
So in terms of, the basics of FBA, so, you obviously have to set yourself up. Is that a complicated process?
No, it wasn't for me, to be honest. Is it a complicated process? It can be. It's gotten more complicated now. People doing no, complicated is the wrong word. No, everyone wouldn't say it's complicated, but there's hurdles to jump through. Okay. Again, so Amazon.
There's a lot of talk about kind of gated products and stuff like that. So, from what I understand, you can't sell products straight away. How would you overcome those as hurdles?
So you can sell products straight away, just certain ones you can't. For example, like toys and games. Toys and games are one that's quite a protected category. You can't just go straight in and sell them. For example, like Aptamil baby milk, you couldn't just go in and sell that straight away. Amazon are like your parents. And what you sell is like you going out and about having fun. You see, they're not going to trust you straight away. So you've got two options with that. What you can do is you can prove to Amazon that you're buying reputable products from reputable wholesalers / manufacturers. So for example, a gated product, you would buy products from a wholesaler, a reputable one. Okay. And then you provide Amazon with the invoice and go, here, Amazon, look, I've got the invoice. I've got these products, as you can see, because you need to take pictures of the products as well. What do you think? And they usually come back with a yes or a no, or you need to change this. You just keep submitting until they say yes. Obviously, with that comes risk, because you have to buy the product, you have to get the invoice. But again, there's techniques and ways of doing it, so it doesn't cost so much money. That makes sense. I think you're muted, by the way.
Cool. So once you've set yourself up in Amazon, then obviously the next step is obviously finding the products. So what kind of tools and techniques are you kind of using at the moment?
So in regards to tools, Jungle Scout is one that's massive for product research, in regards to wholesale. In regards to product research methods, it is essentially a case of cross-referencing no matter what you're doing. You are cross-referencing between Amazon and wholesale websites, retail websites, clearance websites. It's just a case of so you look at face value and you go, okay, cool. I can buy that for £12 from there, and I can sell it for £25 on Amazon. Face value, I'm going to make some sort of money there. Cool. That's when you would go further, then look into it, add it to your inventory, see what the fees are, blah 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 blah. That makes sense. You're muted again.
Hi, Jack. Sorry, I've got a quick question.
Go ahead.
So you're talking about gated products and how to kind of prove to Amazon that you can sell like in toys and games, because I've been looking at toys and games myself to get into. I was just curious: is there a minimum quantity that you need to prove to Amazon you've bought and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. So for wholesale orders, essentially Amazon deem a wholesale order to be a minimum of 10 units, you see. Okay. So if you are submitting that invoice, you need to buy a minimum of 10. Now, where risk comes with that is there's no guarantee you're going to get ungated, for one. And another one, if your product costs 50 quid and you've got to buy 10 of them, you can do the maths. That's a lot of money for a no guarantee. And the thing is, you don't really know accurately what your fees are until they're actually in your inventory as well. But a tip I can give for that, it's fine. So for example, if it's Aptamil 6-pack and it costs 50 quid, maybe go for a £2 Aptamil carton. It will be gated in the same category, because once you get that category ungated, the whole lot's ungated. The whole category is ungated, you see? So you go for a cheaper product within the same category, which will have the same effect.
Understood. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So Joe Payne, you had a question. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask away?
Yeah. You know, when you are looking for a product,
Yep.
would you, for a long-term one, would you prefer to go look on a wholesale website, find a product on there, and then look on Jungle Scout, see what sells, see how it sells, or would you go straight to Jungle Scout, see, oh, this is selling well, look through that, and then go find a product on a wholesaler?
Well, you do both. You do both. So you start on a wholesaler, then you check Jungle Scout. That's a good way of doing it, because what you got to do with product research, the funny thing, it's not hard. Finding products to sell on Amazon is not hard. It's long. It's tedious. It's repetitive. Yeah, that's what's tough about it. It's not a hard process. So what you've mentioned there is two methods. So you go to a wholesaler and you find out if it's selling on Amazon, and you find out what Jungle Scout says it is and how good it is. Okay. Then you've got the other way around. You start on Jungle Scout, and then you have to go and find that product that Jungle Scout recommends to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. All right. Cheers.
No worries.
Thank you.
And I guess from that, you could use both techniques at the same time, couldn't you, really?
Yeah, absolutely. All it is with all the things you're using is it's just cross-referencing. But as to start with, it's long and tedious because it's new. You don't know what works. You don't know what works well. But me, goodness knows how long I've spent staring at Jungle Scout and Amazon.co.uk for the past 2 years. You just learn a few things. You know, you get a couple of things that become like second nature when you're looking at it. So you can identify products quickly. You can look at go actually, oh, I've seen that before on Amazon. Wow, that's cheap. You know, and go from there. Obviously, matching brands. You go, oh, I sell a product from that brand. I've seen one from that before. Let me see if it's on Amazon to see how well it's doing. And that's the kind of process you go through. You know.
So obviously in your journey, you've experienced highs and lows with Amazon FBA. What kind of things for someone who's just starting out would you say to look out for? You know, what those kind of big hurdles, those unforeseen issues? How would you handle things like returns, or you know, you send a shipment and unbeknown to you, loads of the products are faulty. How do you kind of cope with that kind of issues?
Well, the thing is, so a couple of points you brought up there. So returns are handled for you, which is nice. But that's the only nice thing about it. So returns, Amazon will send the customer will return them to Amazon. Amazon will refund the customer and send it back to you. Okay. Let me give you a real life example of an issue that you could come across with this. So when I was selling Xbox Ones, Xbox One 1 terabyte, 2 controllers, very cool consoles. I had a customer message me and they said, "Oh, I need a refund. The product's not working." You know. It's obviously bullshit. But they said that, and I said, actually, you know what? If you want a refund, you're going to have to return the product to Amazon, and then you can get the refund, which I was fine with. The product, will come back and give it to a family member or something, whatever. So he returned the Xbox One, got his refund. Amazon returned the Xbox to me, opened it up, and there was an Xbox 360 inside. Sticky, smelly, stained Xbox 360. What could I do about it? Nothing. Could I track it? No. That is just part and parcel of selling on Amazon. It is, it's got its ups and downs. With everything, the goods comes with the bad. So for example, you don't have full control over the refunds and why they are. But what you've got to understand is that's why people shop on Amazon. There's money to be made on Amazon because such a high velocity of people actually purchase on Amazon. The reason they do that is because they trust that if they buy shit, they can get their money back. So it's a double-edged sword. You got to take the good with the bad, because if they couldn't go ahead and get their money back and it wasn't that safe for them, it wouldn't have such a trusted audience. You see what I mean there?
So on that front, so with the returns then, if the product's returned, does that affect your account negatively? Like, for example, you have one product returned, but if you had multiple of the same products, what happens in that instance?
So if you had multiple products returned, it could definitely. So per product that you have, you get rating, NCX rating, I think it's called. It could go negative. It could be bad. Amazon could close that listing for you. But what that's the case of is don't buy dodgy shit. Okay. But obviously with what I do, the wholesale side of things, it's a case of I'm buying reputable brands. I'm buying Nivea, for example. People know it, people trust it. It's a good product. I'm buying it from Costco, who are getting it from Nivea direct. So that's part of the process where if you move over to something like private label and you're buying stuff from China and you don't test it out, then you could get issues. For example, faulty electrical, stuff like that. That's where you can come across some sort of issues in regards to that. And yes, if you are selling crap and you are giving Amazon a bad name and you are making Amazon's customers unhappy, they will boot you. Simple as. They're in a league of their own. They're kind of above the law, if you will. They will do what they want as and when they need to make sure that they are still this pristine company that they need to be. But reverting back. So hurdles to jump through when you start out, again, being gated. Okay. So always try and the best tip I always give, the non-negotiable, task to do before ever buying a product is make sure you can sell it. So on your Amazon seller app, when you scan a product, it will tell you at the bottom, can you sell this product? Yes or no. That's so important because I have people coming to me, hey, Jack, I've just started Amazon FBA. I bought this product, but I can't sell it. It's like, you've got to do that due diligence. You've got to see whether you can sell it or not. That's a massively important thing. Another thing is competition. Okay. If you go in on a product and you undercut and you're violent, other sellers will be violent as well. You will get undercut, but it's a game. So you can sell in the evenings, you can drop your price in the evenings, you can wait for competitors to sell out, stuff like that. It's just about being smart with it and not going over the top and getting too excited just to get numbers on the board. I used to do that when I started out. I'm like, okay, no, I don't care. I'm going to undercut to the point of, 10%, 15% ROI. And it was shit. But I wanted to do it because I wanted the numbers on the board. I wanted to just get them sold, and it never really worked out the best way. Could have waited another week and got 60% ROI. So that's one thing I recommend. Be patient if you're having trouble with competitors.
We've got Tony Riles. He has a question. Tony?
Evening, Jack.
Hi, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, mate.
Good. Just a quick one. So you say about the test orders, ordering something of, say, 50. Say you're ordering from China and that flies off the shelf. Obviously, there's like a week to 2 week wait time for a delivery from China. So how would you overcome that? Would you think, shit, I need to ride the selling wave, or would it be a case of, well, it sold well, I know it sells well now, so I'll put a bigger delivery in and then just wait out the delivery time?
It's just a funny one with China. It's a very, very funny one with China because you've got to find the sweet spot, you see, because if you do too small an order, it will sell out quickly and you're not going to have that product back in for ages. But another thing as well is I do not recommend wholesale. Don't buy and just sell it on existing listings on Amazon. There's too much shit that you can get in regards to that without doing your research. So what I'll say in regards to that is, if you're doing a private label order, you need a decent, fair amount of stock. If you're branding your own product, making your own listing, you're going to need a fair amount of stock to get it ranked, to start the advertising. But again, I can't talk too much on that because I started that 6 months ago and I'm still in the process of learning it. See, because I obviously will never talk about and preach about something I haven't really, got my, my teeth dug into. But what I'll say with that is, coming from China, you've got to find a sweet spot, but it's still got to be a small enough order to be, you never know what could happen. By the time your products get here, if it's wholesale, for example, hence why I'd probably recommend you don't do it to start with. Okay. If you buy a wholesale product from China, by the time it gets here, the price could be slammed. Okay. So it could be a nightmare, or it could take ages. For example, I've got products that I'm waiting for since the beginning of December, still waiting for them to arrive. And they're held up in Poland at the moment, and I actually don't know why. So again, for now, if you're starting it, if you're looking to start it, I'd say stick to UK until there's more clarity on what on earth is going on.
Well, I'm on your course in March anyway, so we'll talk more about it in March.
I'll wait to see you, mate. Awesome.
Cheers, Jack.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
We have a question from James Sawkins. James, you there? James, might need to unmute your mic.
Hiya, yeah, sorry. Hiya, Jack.
Hi, Jack, all right?
Hiya, yeah. I just do you use any other means? Like, if you know that there was a product that you put on Amazon that weren't selling too good, do you use any other means to drive traffic to your Amazon storefront as such?
No, so for me, so the way it works, what I do at the moment with private label, I'm looking to get into that. So with my own brand and stuff that I've had to build, create, get reviews for, and actually sell, non-organically, I will need to do that. Have I done it yet? No. But one thing that everyone should really understand with wholesale, with what you're doing, you're buying products that already sell. Okay, so you go through certain checks, you do certain checks on a listing, you do certain checks on a product, you do certain checks on whether you can sell the product. When you do that and you buy the product, selling it isn't the issue. You will always sell the product. It's already ranked, it's already selling, it's already moving. You're just going in and swooping in and taking the sales, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Jack.
The answer to that question is I currently do not use any other means to do so. When I do it, I'll probably hire someone to do that because it's not my specialty.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jack.
My pleasure.
So, Jack, have you considered like the whole kind of the personal branding stuff? When did you start deciding to go down that route?
So it's when I had enough capital to carry on with what I'm doing, the wholesale, which I pulled back on a little bit. I was trying to make a transition, but I thought actually if it's not broken, don't fix it. So it was about 6 months ago. So where are we now? So October, November, December, January, February. Yeah. So no, about 6 months ago. Now with that, it's great, but I didn't ever want to do it with cash out of my pocket. You see, I wanted to have that funded by the wholesale business. So when I was doing wholesale, it was building up enough cash. And then I thought to myself, right, I've got a few product lines here that are making a very healthy amount of money each month. Okay. While they're doing that, they're making excess cash, which I haven't got more products to spend on. So I would then go ahead and invest that into private label. And it's been a massive, massive case of test and measure over the past, 5 months with all of that. It's gone very well, but it's been too stagnant. I haven't given enough time to it. But however, obviously when all the Chinese factories reopen on the 24th, that is when I'm really going to get heavy into that because the opportunity is fantastic with it and it's funded for me. Because what you're looking at there is cash tied up for a fair bit of time. If you spend £2,000 on stock from China, you get it. It's going to take 20 days to get here at the moment. It's going to take, a week to get into Amazon. So it's going to take 3 weeks to get here. It's going to take a week to get into Amazon, probably a month to sell. That's 2 months. And then it's going to take another 2 weeks / 3 weeks to get your money out. You're looking at 2.5 - 3 months there. It's quite a long time to be without cash. Hence why I always wanted to do it with profits from the business so I could reinvest it and not worry about cash flow, because cash flow is a big thing in this business. Yeah, to build this business, you've got to spend all your money. You've got to spend it, because if you're not spending money, you're not making money. That's how it is. It's retail, So if you're not spending money, you're not making money. But when you're spending money, you can spend, if you've got 50 grand in the bank, you spend 50 grand on products, then it's tied up. And you can't get it until it's sold, you see. So it's quite a funny one in that sense. But in regards to the branded stuff, it's something I wanted to branch out into because it provides more longevity, for sure. Wholesale is great. Like things can happen to your product, stuff like that. So the branding side of stuff is what I'm looking at getting into alongside the wholesale stuff, to just also build a sellable asset as well. A sellable brand is worth a hell of a lot of money, and if you can automate a brand, and automate a company on Amazon, a private label brand, or automate a private label Amazon company, Amazon brand, you can sell that for a lot of money. So long as it's turning over and making good profit, sell it for a lot of money. So that's what I want to start doing.
That sounds good. And I guess just to add to that, one thing as well, I hear people forget about is the customs duty when your products are being shipped in. I myself is Slink. I've had stuff come over from China. Then I get the text message from DHL. You need to pay X amount of money from customs to get your product sent to you. So I think those kind of things people always need to be aware of, because you can get stung quite heavily. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It's quite a funny one. So with that, you can get certain shipping. So you'll always have to, if you're speaking to companies from China, you need to when you're buying products from China, what you need to make sure you're doing is, finding out from the person you're buying it from whether the customs are included in the shipping or not. For me, how I work it out is if customs aren't included and I have to pay duty, it's 20% of the product value. So if I'm spending £1,000 on products and £1,000 on the shipping, I know that I'm going to have to pay £200 odd in import duty. So it works. It's quite a funny one. It can sting you, but if it's a funny one, because if the import duty is enough to wipe out your profit, you're doing the wrong thing anyway. It shouldn't wipe out your profit. You should be looking for much higher ROI if you're purchasing from China. That's for sure.
Cool. We've had another question from Steve Hubbard, our admin. Have you thought about selling any wax melts or scented products?
I've sold wax melts before as wholesale, but that was just because I found them for cheap. I haven't personally. No. No. No, to be honest with you, I think it's a fairly saturated market. No, not particularly. Not particularly.
So just quickly going back to the private labeling, is there a risk if you spend time developing your product, working on your brand, that Amazon could undercut you with Amazon Basics brand? Is that something that happens a lot, or if
A
you're
lot?
niche?
No. A lot? No. Again, with these things, you got to understand that you got to play Amazon's game. This isn't a free reign where you can go and make all this money and not have anyone step in. That's called too much to be true, too good to be true. But with this, it's a case of, personally, I've got products that Amazon haven't hopped on, and I don't think they're going to hop on or try do for a very long time. But it's a massive case of, yeah, sure, if they do it, but you can always live with what ifs, in fairness. But by the time Amazon are copying and jerking your product, you've probably made a fair bit of dough on it anyway, and you can get on to the next, So that's not something that particularly worries me too. It can happen for sure. Amazon come through with a better version, but their product is here and your product is still here. So you still get sales. It's not like it's a total loss and you're wiped out and you're gone for good. It's a myth, you still get the sales, maybe just not as much of a high volume of them.
Yeah. Okay, next question's from James.
Just going back to your Nivea example, which you're obviously getting from Costco. How do people buy from your store rather than me, for example, if I assume that we're both selling for the same price?
Okay, cool. So what happened is we don't sell on different stores, basically. You got an Amazon, if you search Nivea hand cream, for example, actually, can one of you share a screen now on Amazon, like show everyone? Could we do that, or do you not want to do that?
Yeah,
Make sure your address isn't on there, but yeah, I'm happy to show you what I mean. It's quite cool because again, it's one of the, I think it's not a common misconception, but there's essentially what happens is you all sell on the same thing. So if I buy the same thing from Costco, you buy the same thing from Costco, we're selling on the same page, on the same Amazon listing. The person who wins those sales is the person with the best price and the best shipping times. So
what are we searching for? Nivea hand cream?
Yeah, go on, Nivea hand cream. Let's see if we can find one. So if you scroll down a little bit, let's see if we can find one with a couple more sellers on. If you scroll down, go to that anti-age hand cream there, the Q10 one, £16.
This one, yeah?
Yeah. Let's have a look at that one. Cool. So if you scroll down a little bit for me. Cool. So yeah, that's it. Good. Stop. Up a little bit more, just a tad. So if you can see there on the right-hand side, okay, what you've got is the buy box. You see where it says add to basket buy now? Yeah?
Yeah.
Add to basket buy now. If you look below that, it says secure transaction. Then if you look below that, it says sold by Europe Center Limited and fulfilled by Amazon. Okay, that's called the buy box. That's where you are if you're getting, that's where you want to be if you want to get all the sales. So FBA products or FBA sellers are normally always in the buy box because people want Prime. Izzy, I bet if you're going to buy this product right now, you want it tomorrow, not 8-9 days time. Okay, that's why you're on.
I definitely need help with my hands.
Cool. So is that what it's for? Is it? So you've got on the right hand side there, you've got Europe Center Limited. Then if you see below that, can you see where it says new 7 from?
Yeah, just here.
You can see Gems Helping Hands there, sold by Gems Helping Hands at £16.43. Can you see? If you go a little bit lower, just hover your thing. Okay, yeah, we can do that. So there we go. Gems Helping Hands, £16.43. So you all sell on the same listing. So James, for example, if I'm this guy here at £16.43 in the buy box and you wanted to come in and get those sales, all you'd need to do, James, is go in and drop it by a penny. Steve literally just answered your question. Yeah, all you need to do there. So if I wanted to go in and make all of those sales, I would go in and price it at £16.42. So if you come out of that, Izzy. So if I went in there at £16.42, okay, I would then show up as JackDamz, sold by JackDamz and fulfilled by Amazon on the right-hand side. So when anyone clicks buy now, add to basket, they buy it from me, not anyone else. Does that make sense?
But this is where you have to be careful because then someone will come in at 16.41 and so on. You can get into a war, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. Or you can share. So you see how Gems Helping Hands is at the same price. What they'll be doing is they'll be sharing the sales throughout the day, which is a nice conserved way of doing it. But it depends if you like to be violent or not. That's always one of the questions you got to ask yourself. But yeah, so you go in at 1643, you share the sales with the other sellers at 1643, or you undercut and potentially get yourself into a price war.
So who determines who is purchased from? So if you're all at the same price, is it Amazon that would just divvy it up equally between
Amazon will rotate the buy box, yeah.
That's interesting. Good.
It is. It is. And obviously if you go in at a penny below, you will take all the sales, you'll be the one in the buy box.
And running on from that question, you did mention something about maybe in the evenings you would do an offer or you'll cut things.
Yeah. So if you think about it this way, so we're all sat at the office 9 to 5. All right, these big companies, they'll be huge. Europe Centre Limited and Gems Helping, they'll be big. They're making a lot of money. So there are people manually repricing throughout the day. So I'll undercut and they'll go, hang on a minute, this Jack guy's undercut, I'm going to undercut him. Yeah, you get into a price war and you get into a race to the bottom. So what are office hours in the UK? 9 to 5 on average, 9 to half 5. Yeah. 6 p.m. you come in, you take the sales in the evening. Before you go to bed, put your price back up. No one knows, no one's upset. That's a nice little strategy I've used for a very long time, because, you know, when you look at it that way, it's a case of most sales on Amazon happen from 5 till 10 p.m. anyway. So you're going to get the majority of the sales for the day in that short amount of time, and you're not battling with anyone as well. So it's pretty cool. Okay,
so question from Steve again. How do you get onto the buy box? But I guess you've answered that already.
Yeah.
Cool. Another question, which I think I saw earlier on. For seasonal products, what do you do with that? Would you kind of buy and hold stock, or would you just buy it and send it straight to Amazon?
Again, it's totally dependent on your cash flow, when you buy it and how. If you've got deep pockets, you'd buy, you know, you get all your Q4 stuff in now, you just would. It totally depends. So for example, I never shop seasonal. I don't do seasonal. It's just not me. I'll buy things that sell all year round. That's just how I like to do it. Again, for Christmas, you can't. So for example, if it's October and you want to buy stuff for Christmas, it's too risky. I bought products in mid-September. They didn't get to me till the 12th of December. Okay, if they were Christmas products, they would not have been at Amazon until 22nd, 23rd. They wouldn't have sold. So for me personally, I steer clear of seasonal products. I don't really like going. I like to buy products that are needs rather than wants, if that makes sense. Yep. Seasonal products, I just steer clear personally. Not my cup of tea.
Okay. Got another question from Tony.
Yeah. Tony, you are muted, by the way, mate.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. You're going to get sick of me by the end of this.
No, not silly.
Do you see yourself losing money once we're out of lockdown? Because obviously Amazon at the moment is probably everyone sat at home bored buying. Do you see yourself making less profit once we're out of lockdown?
Not if you change the way you're buying, for sure. For example, when you're out of lockdown, if you're buying things that people are going to be taking out to nightclubs, for example, I don't know, this is just an example to nightclubs, for example. It totally depends on the way you're buying as well. You know, if lockdown finishes and COVID disappears and I'm selling face masks, then I'm trouble. Or I'm selling hand sanitizer, well, we may still do okay, but it's about being with the times. You know, again, that's what I'm saying. To not be caught with the seasonal stuff. You know, with some products that I'm selling, you know, it's still going to be people's birthdays. They're still going to buy the products. Do I think there's going to be a dip in sales? Yes, absolutely. Inevitable.
Are you worried about it at all?
No, not at all. Not at all, because I'm constantly scaling up. If you're constantly scaling up, I mean, by the time, so, I mean, if lockdown ends next week, I'm in an okay position. I'm trying to think about what I'm selling at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably see about 30% decline in sales, I imagine. Very likely. But that's just because people are going to be out and about. They're not.
But then you'll make that up with the new products that you bring in with people that take it out, i.e., like you said,
absolutely, like that. Just got to make your buying a bit smarter. But again, you know, if lockdown finishes, you know, shipping prices will inevitably go back down. Margins will get better. Wholesalers' stock will get better. So I won't have many down days with certain stock levels and with certain stock lines. So again, everything's got its pros and cons. You know, everything massively has. So wouldn't say losing money. An instant decline in sales, yes. But again, it's like everything. So for example, Q4, Christmas time, sales. January comes, boom, slump in sales. You've got to change the way you're buying, you know, especially if you are doing so seasonally. But yeah, no loss. No loss. Slight drop in sales. When the dust settles, it will all be good again, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Another question, well, something a bit current. There's the proposals for the online retailers to be taxed 2%.
Yeah, yeah.
How will this affect you or other Amazon FBA people or anyone doing online sales?
Well, to be fair, I'm sure it'll have some sort of negative impact, but for me, I do Amazon FBA. I'm not an accountant. I'll wait for news on my accountant to tell me that, to be honest with you. Again, these kind of things are current affairs with that. It's like, people are like, oh, what's Brexit done to your business? Well, I'll let you know. I'm still really not that sure what it's doing to my business. I'm just kind of carrying on and seeing what happens, So with that, yeah, I'm sure it'll have some sort of slight effect. Did hear about it, but did I look into it much more? Not really. And when it does affect me, I'll come back and let you know.
All right. So we've had a lot of questions coming through, which is fantastic. Does anybody else have any more questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Cool. Right. Well,
I've got a quick question, if that's all right. Yeah. Hi, Jack. Good evening.
How are you? Okay.
Yeah. Good. Thanks. Say you've only got, say, £100, £200, not a lot to start with. Would you, or to start Amazon FBA, where would you start? Would you go into drop shipping, or would you do something else, or would you just wait until you can build up a bit more capital to start with? And how much and how long would you wait for until you can get to that point?
Yeah, FBA probably not, to be honest with you. That's not to say you couldn't, but it'd be a really, it'd be a trek. If you saved up for another 3 months and waited and had an extra grand, your growth would be much faster anyway. 200, let's say 200 quid is a round number. For me, in honesty, I'm not like these other guys online who will say, "I'll just stick it in Forex and you make 20 grand in a month." We all know it's bullshit. We do. To be honest, mate, you're best off getting your personal finance sorted first, because if your personal finances aren't great, your business finances won't be either. They go hand in hand. So what I'll say is, not in the least rude way possible, but get a good paying job and save until the time's right. So you've got a few grand in the bank and you've got a bit of a safety net behind you. Does that make sense, Jack?
Yeah. So you want to be aiming for sort of £1,000, £2,000, maybe as much as possible, ideally for
yeah. Absolutely. So look, so what you've got to do is you've got to look at it, whenever you spend money with that. So with Amazon FBA, for example, whenever you spend money, you've got to look at it being tied up for at least a month. Now, if you get an insane ROI, let's say you get 50%, for example, hundreds and 200s are possible. One of my staff members found I think it's 1,044% ROI product. Now, if you could do something like that, that's amazing, but inevitably you're going to make mistakes. Inevitably, it's inevitable. Don't let anyone ever tell you differently. You're going to fuck up. It's just par for course. So with 200 quid, it can get wiped out very quickly. Very, very, very quickly, with 10 products, 10 units or something, you could just lose it, or it could not sell for profit. It's not deep enough, in honesty. I'd say 1,500, £2,000. It's a very, very reasonable amount of money to start with. And it will give you the best chances. The more money you start with, obviously, the better. It's an ROI game. If you invest £100 at 100% ROI, you're making £100. If you invest £2,000 at 100% ROI for a month, you're going to make £2,000. So the more, the merrier. It's kind of how it works.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate. All the best.
Any other questions? Joe.
Yeah, I've got a question. Yeah. Hi, Jack. You see, I've got a product. Luckily, it was sourced from my dad's business, so I haven't had to put any money into it as of yet until I finally sell it. But I've created a listing, but I need to get authorization from the manufacturer.
Okay.
The manufacturer's Chinese. How would I go about that?
Is this not your brand?
No.
So if you told me the brand name right now, let's just say you told me the brand name right now, could I do some research on the internet and find that exact same brand?
No.
I couldn't. Impossible. I would not be able to go and source that product if I wanted to.
No.
Okay. It's a tough one, because what I would say is if you're creating a listing and pumping cash into advertising and pumping cash into getting reviews, stuff like that for another brand, it's quite risky, Because what could happen is if they sell to someone at a better margin than you and they come in and undercut, your hard work is gone. It's disappeared. So I'm just reading your question here. So you got a product, but when you try to create the listing, you needed authorization from the supplier. For me, I'd say it's probably a bit of a blessing in disguise. Have you purchased it? Actually bought the product?
Well, because my dad sells them at his company, so I haven't had to buy it. It's just taking it from his warehouse. I was going to try and sell it on Amazon instead of selling it in shops, because obviously the shops aren't open. So I can just give it back to him and he can sell it at the shop. So it's not a big deal. But I was just trying to sell it on Amazon now.
What I'll say is, obviously, this is a live video. Obviously, I know it's a tough one to try and say what the product is or isn't. Just yeah, it totally depends on what the product is. Again, you could get you could get an authorization letter from the brand if they're happy for you to sell it on Amazon. But when a brand's not on Amazon, there's usually a reason for that as well. Just to bear in mind. Yeah, it's a tough one. Have you got my Instagram? You have. Yeah.
Do you
want me, if you want to send me the type of product it is, I could probably advise you better outside of obviously the big meeting if you want. All right.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I'll drop you a DM.
Good stuff. No worries, mate. Cool.
Cheers.
Right. So now that you mentioned your Instagram and maybe kind of Joe contacting you, can you just give us a couple of minutes about your mentoring? I know you don't want to plug it, but I think there's been a lot of good questions coming out from people. If they wanted to kind of secure a bit more of your time, how would they go about doing that? And just, explain to us a bit about your mentoring program and things like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So again, it's so the mentoring program is a mentoring program. It's not an online course, as I was saying to you before. So it's obviously my time. I'm allocating time. We sit down, we work on your business, and we grow it together. Now, because of that, obviously, it's quite sporadic when it happens. There's no kind of set timings. It's as and when I'm kind of done and have helped people properly. It's obviously quality, not quantity. So I release spaces on my story on Instagram. That's the only place you can get them currently. And what does it include? It's kind of like a hand-holding process is what it is. It's like a hand-holding process, but I'm kind of throwing you into it kind of thing. So I'll make you make mistakes. I'll make sure that you make mistakes, but ones that don't cost much money. It's essentially what I was looking for. I've created with Jack's Amazon Club what I was looking for when I started out. Not going to take your eyes out. You actually learn what you need to learn. No foo-foo guzzy shit. No, at the end of join my special gold VIP 12, 20 grand crap. It's just a case of, if you pay me for my time, I'll do everything I can, everything in my power to make sure you leave knowing exactly what you need to do. And that's the kind of, that's the kind of ethos I've built, So it's a case of starting up. We're going to send off our first products. Make sure you do this. Here's how to list them. Here's how to deal with your competition. Here's how to source products. Here's what I do to source products. Here's what I use to source products. And the most part of it is here's how I fucked up. Because that's the most important part. I don't teach people how to make millions of pounds. It's impossible. It's a mindset. That's a mindset. Making loads of money is a mindset. It is. That's whether you want to make it a side hustle, a hobby, whatever it is, For me, I'm just there going, this is how I lost loads of money. Don't do that. And if you're not losing money, most of the time, you should really be making it. That's kind of how it works. You're either losing it or you're making it, So that's the process I go through. It's a pretty much bulletproof process where, we go through step by step each week. We build the business, we set goals, we set targets. And by week 8, people are like, oh shit, I'm doing all right here. It's working very well. And that's just how it is. People do well. Does everyone do well? Question that everyone wants to hear. Does everybody do well? No, not everyone does well. Why? Because I can't handcuff you to a table and force you to work. All I can do is give you the fish, or I can teach you to fish. Whether you go to decide to go fishing is totally down to you. Or what's the other one? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it's definitely one of them things. As with anything, really, it's just if you're up for some hard work, if you're up for a graft and up to putting your hours into something that can pay off very nicely, then it's the right place for you. If you think it's going to come quick and easy without some serious graft, then no. But again, you can do serious graft in McDonald's toilets. And you can do some serious graft at Amazon FBA. It's about choosing where you do that work, spend those hours, spend that time and the blood, sweat and tears. So yeah, it's cool. I like it. I enjoy it as well. It's become a little bit of a passion of mine, you see. But not to say you can't do it yourself. You absolutely can. Will you make mistakes? Yes. Can I help you reduce them? Yeah, that's it. Cool.
Fantastic. No, thanks a lot for that.
My pleasure.
Sorry,
Before
do
we
you mind if I
kinda-
ask some questions to follow up on the mentoring program? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I was just wondering. I've quite a like long hour job, and I was wondering, like, on average, how many hours would you say it would take a week to become successful on your program?
The more the merrier. That's
Yeah.
a fact. The more the merrier. For me, it's about what I tell a lot of people who come on. I'm very kind before, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's fine, but when we get on, it's actually a case of, you got to pull your finger out. You got to step up. It's a business at the end of the day. If you want to make 50 quid, you're going to make 50 quid. It's not hard. At the end of the day, it's a business. For me, when I started up, I was at 5 days a week at college, 4 days during the week at Tesco, and I was 2 days on the weekend at Tesco as well. I was working 14 days a week, and there's only bloody 7 days in the week, but I was putting 3-4 hours of an evening. I wasn't having no chill time. It was hours and hours and hours. 3-4 hours a day is what I was putting into it, but my growth was fast. It happened, fairly quickly. I stumbled across a few things that worked very well. 2 hours, 2 good hours, because you can have bad hours as well. 2 good hours a day will set you in good stead. It depends how fast you learn and how much time you give to it. Really, it's business is like a plant. If you give it water, it will grow. If you don't, it just won't. But in regards to that, one thing I do to accommodate timings is most of my mentoring's in the evening or on a Sunday. So it'll be past 6 p.m. and it'll be on a Sunday for those who can't do past 6 p.m. or who work nights, evenings, whatever it may be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure. Cool.
Sorry, can we carry on with questions? I had a couple of questions before, but you went into the mentoring program. Do you mind if I
go for it? Go for it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I was just going to say, with the packaging requirements, do Amazon really kind of like hold your hand with that, or do you need to kind of figure out the process and?
So what's the product preparation?
Yeah. So if I've ordered a product and that I can list it, will they tell me exactly what I need to do to get that FBA ready?
They won't say exactly. However, there is preparation guidance when you're going through a shipping plan, and they will let you know.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. So, for example, if it's liquids, poly bag, if it's smashable or fragile glass, needs to go in bubble wrap. Adult products, adult toys need to go in like opaque bags. Child products, small products and baby products needs to go in transparent poly bags with suffocation warnings on them. So I would, Amazon will tell you when you go through your prep guidance on a shipping plan, when you're about to send it off, they will let you know exactly what you need to do.
Awesome. Okay. And then with the, would you recommend any label printer in particular? Or
no label printer. No, definitely not. Let me show you. Perfect. See this right here? A4 piece of paper, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So, I know, not actually the right one. Bit of a nightmare. Hang on a moment. This should be it. No, okay. So basically, what you do is you get labels. Actually, that's them there. I want to show you because people get very confused about this. Right, is that it there? Okay, cool. So this here, I'm not going to show you the other side because it's got my address on it. But this here is the label paper. So you're going to put it in your printer and it will print off the barcodes. Okay. Right. Then when you print it out, you'll have peelable barcodes like that. You just stick them on the product. No point in buying a label printer. You just buy these. They're like £7 for 100 sheets on Amazon. Okay. And then you put it in your normal A4 printer, print it off. Amazon will give you the barcodes for it, and they print off quite nicely.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. My pleasure.
Right. Does anyone else have any more questions? Got 2 more minutes before we Jack goes off and enjoys the rest of his evening.
Got parties to go to, festivals, raves, such a busy night ahead.
Cool. Okay. So I guess we don't have any more, but if anyone does have any more questions, feel free to hit Jack up on his Instagram, which is JackDamz or Jack's Amazon Club.
Jack's Amazon Club.
Jack's Amazon Club, or TikTok as well.
And TikTok.
Thank you very much again, Jack, for being a wonderful source of knowledge on this. It's opened my eyes up a lot as well. I am kind of curious. Is it something I want to kind of get into myself? But yeah, no, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a good one, everybody. And whatever you do, good luck.
Brilliant.
Take it easy. Thank you very much.